Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of the Top Producing Zone podcast. I'm your host, Michael Jin, along with my co-host, Shane Carvalho.
Hey guys.
Shane and I are super excited to be starting this podcast because, as we kind of looked in the marketplace and, interact with agents, one thing that we saw was, there's a lot, while there might be some training out there for real estate agents, a lot of times they weren't really done by agents that were still actively and currently producing. So, both of us are still actively doing that. And so with this podcast, we really want to bring for you guys just all our learnings, all our knowledge, all our skill sets to really help you grow your production business as well. And so with this very first episode, what we wanted to do was just share with you a little bit about our backgrounds, our history, how we got into real estate, and what we're going to give to you guys going forward. So I'm going to start with my mentor, my elder here, Shane.
Yeah, elder, thanks.
with over 20 years of experience in real estate. So Shane, why don't you start off? How did you get into all this?
Yeah, that's actually a funny story, but I'll keep it brief because you know me, I could turn anything into a novel. I was actually working at Wells Fargo Bank when I was in junior college. I transferred up to San Jose State. I was going to business school up there, and so I got transferred to a Wells Fargo branch up in Evergreen, which is in southeast San Jose. And anyway, I was working as a merchant teller, so I dealt with all the small businesses that came in every day. And there's this real estate broker that, one day he just was like, "Look, man," he's like, "Every time I come in, you're always trying to sell me something." Because, I love to win the competitions. We always had all these little challenges like, "Oh yeah, sell credit cards or sell this or sell that." And so he's like, "Hey," and he's like, "I know you're not probably even making a lot of money, but you're always so good about trying to make sales." He's like, "Come see me at my office after work. I'd love to talk to you about an opportunity." And so anyway, I met with him and he told me what I need to do to start studying to get my real estate license. And that's how I started Principles of Real Estate. And that was back in the 90s. And that was the beginning. That's how I got, towards licensing. And then obviously I took a couple different steps after that.
I know one of the cool things working with you as an agent is you have a pretty, I would call it a very balanced and breadth and depth of knowledge when it comes to real estate. Because a lot of agents only kind of have the production aspect to it, right? They know how to do the transaction, but what kind of you bring to the table is also your experience with as a mortgage lender, right? And then also given your general construction background.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say really quick, when I did work on the license, it was to go into sales, but then I got offered a really good job in Seattle for a national mortgage broker. That's how I actually popped into mortgage before I went into sales. But I had grown up building because my dad was a GC. So
Yeah.
I already had the construction. I was going in the direction of sales. Then I got interrupted by mortgage, but then I ended up in sales in the long run and now got all three down.
That's cool. So you bring all of that really to any kind of real estate transaction and for your clients, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And, obviously you come from an interesting background and, I always tease you about being the engineer and everything. But I know the skills I bring have been really strong in production and helping me grow the business. But now with, all the new technology and everything that's available, I think that even, coming from your background, I'd love to hear more about you've kind of told me some of the story, but I'd love for you to share with our, listeners kind of how you got your start.
Yeah. So I never thought I was going to be a real estate agent. Never ever. You're a Chinese kid, you're an Asian kid, you're growing up, and or I guess a kid in general, you're growing up, right? And people ask you what you want to do, and especially as a Chinese kid, it was one of the big 4 or 5, right? It was you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to go into business, yeah, you're going to be a doctor, whatever it is. Real estate is not up there, right? And so I never thought I was going to do that. I grew up in the Bay Area, spent most of my life here in the Bay in San Jose. Did engineering as an undergrad, did engineering as my master's, went and tested for the MCAT, which is the degree to go be a doctor. Then went to business school, found that I liked really working on things that were short, challenging assignments that were interesting. I found myself never really liking to work on anything super long term. But I like the assignments where I could kind of hit every single aspect of business, whether it's like contracts or pricing or strategy or operations or go to market, whatever it is. Those are the ones that I gravitated to the most. Um, and so even like in the business world, I felt like I was very much a jack of all trades. I did consulting for a couple years, just helping clients grow their business. How do they be more efficient? How do they leverage, the latest in technology with like analytics or the tools to like really like improve their bottom line, grow their revenue, grow their profit. Um, and so in terms of real estate, like I had a really bad experience with my first real estate agent. Um, we talk about, like real estate is kind of all about building that relationship, and there's some agents out there that are just in it for the transaction, right? They collect the check and that's it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my first experience with my first real estate agent. Like they were just in it for the check. And ultimately, like I bought a new construction townhome in the Bay Area, and I felt like I was actually doing most of it myself, like reviewing the contracts, talking with like the new construction sales staff. And then afterwards, there goes my agent collecting a commission check for a few $1,000s, and I'm like, wait, I didn't. You didn't do any of the work. I did it all. And so like that kind of just got me thinking, like, well, why not? Why can't I just go and get my license and just do it myself?
Was it more for your own personal deals when you got it at first?
It absolutely was. I saw it as something that was like, hey, I'm going to do it for myself. I'm going to do it for my friends and family, because why not? Like it's, I can probably do it better than, at least I know of at least one agent I could do it better than. But as I started doing it myself, I just realized it kind of aligned with what I always found interesting in the corporate and the business world, right? With real estate is you're putting on so many different hats at once, and you're really helping like your clients go through a very like emotional journey, a very big journey when it comes to buying or selling their home. And so I wanted to grow out my business more from just helping myself and family, and that's how we met,
Yeah. Well,
which was
I'm
cool.
I'm shocked though, because I mean, not to be stereotyping engineers, but I mean, obviously you studied so much to be an engineer, and I mean, like I get if you'd been a doctor, you would have been dealing with people, so maybe you have a little more love for like working with people, but like going into engineering, like it, I mean, I see it hard to shift to wanting to actually be public facing or actually working with people.
Well, it's interesting because I think I became an engineer because my parents wanted me to.
Ah,
So I don't know if I ever shared that with you. Like my dad, like when he came here, he was purely in like business. He did marketing, he did business development, and I remember he always would tell me, like, if you grow up, if you want to do business, that's great, but you have to have a technical degree first, because then you know how to talk with all these engineers. Um, so I have the degree, but I have two degrees in engineering, but I have not done a single job that's been focused on engineering. I started straight into business. And it's helpful. Like it gets you, in the corporate world, like having an engineering degree gets you in the door.
right.
But yeah, you can tell. You're right. I don't think I have the typical engineering personality. Like I have my geeky side. I love Star Wars and I love Star Trek, and I'm a nerd that way with like some
And
technology, but
you nerd out on some of the technology stuff.
I
Yeah,
do.
no, but yeah, no, but it's just because I mean, like I said, I know it's a stereotype. I'm not trying to stereotype all engineers, but it's just interesting. But then, I mean, we all kind of segue because I mean, I started as pre med when I went into
You
college.
did? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to go into sports medicine, but then
Oh wow.
after a couple really tough chemistry classes, and I think it was physiology. I think that was the semester that I was like, no. And so I thought, well, I'm an entrepreneur, a business person. Let me go after business. And it's funny, I instantly went from like a struggling student to an honor student from like one semester to the next. I mean, business was really easy. I really enjoyed it. So I realized I found my passion. Um, but then, of course, you can deploy a business degree into all kinds of stuff. So it was really that broker that I got to be thankful for, who actually got me to consider real estate, because that was a game changer in college, which is interesting.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. And I guess it's awesome that like you found that person. It's kind of cool how like as we go through life, there's always these like inflection points, I feel like.
Hmm.
And like that was definitely, it sounds like an inflection point for you, because like you, like in the couple of years that I've known you, like you're like a mastermind when it comes to real estate production. Like you do what, like 35 million at least every year in sales volume.
Yeah, and if I didn't get myself involved in so many other things, I probably would do even more. But yeah, no, and always have some projects going. But yeah, no, I mean, I really enjoy all phases of it, and I enjoy putting strategy with lending or seller financing. I mean, I enjoy obviously transforming properties, whether they're stuff that we're buying and reselling or helping sellers sell. I mean, I'm just super passionate. And then now with obviously the opportunity with the brokerage we've been with for the last couple of years, the growth, growing our agent population and, really building something long term has been like the new passion that I didn't even know existed because obviously it wasn't around years back, so that's been the newest twist, along with, of course, sprinkling that Airbnb stuff the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, and I think, that I think you highlighted on like kind of one of the main reasons why like we decided to start this podcast, right? Like, as for those that are listening, like, you have Shane's background as just a super successful high production agent that's been in the Bay Area and been producing for over 20 years. He has his systems and tools and processes that's kind of allowed him to overcome all sorts of markets that we faced over the last 20 years. And then you have someone like myself who's, newer as a real estate agent, but brings the many years. I mean, I almost can't get it out of my mouth, but like more than a decade's worth of like digital, like of business experience working with high tech companies and helping them grow. And so when you put the two of us together, then you have this like powerful partnership where we have been able to apply it to our business and use like the tried and true real estate methods that Shane's super great at, combined with like the new tech and processes and trying to help businesses grow and be more efficient that I'm great with. And we've been able to like grow our business like Shane's talking about. And that's something that we want to help you as listeners in this podcast do as well.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that because I've obviously been on other podcasts and I've spoken and taught and coached and done different things over the years. One thing I really appreciate too that I'm looking forward to is that, I always end up learning back from the audience, and so I'm excited to keep not only sharing my experiences but learning from the audience. And then we have such great guests that are going to come on, and that's going to give us a lot of new tips and tricks. And yeah, it just, I mean, overall, it's an exciting way to, really network, get more involved and grow, have more reach. And also I feel like all these years I haven't wanted to be on camera, be out there really sharing, but I'm always an open book. And I really feel like I'm doing myself and my community a disservice by not putting it out there because it's been a lot of years of experience and success and hard work, and I feel like people need to hear about it. I mean, it's especially for the new up and coming agents that want to have long successful careers. I mean, the old school basics they still apply to a large extent. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm excited about it, Michael.
No, me too. And like just to kind of recap quickly, like so every week, we're going to be releasing a new podcast, and as listeners to the show, like you can expect really one of two things from us. Either you can expect, just Shane and I talking about, a real estate production like topic, whether it's some kind of strategy, some kind of tool, some kind of method that we use that's helped our production business, and we want to share it with you to help you grow yours as well. Or like Shane mentioned, we have some dynamite speakers that we're bringing on to this podcast as well, and they're not always going to be real estate production agents, because I firmly believe that we can learn from top producing individuals in any field. Like, I truly believe that there are consistent mindsets, skills that people who are top producers in any field bring to the table. And so we're going to bring you a wide variety of guest interviews so you can have that breadth of knowledge to help you in your business.
No, I agree 100%. Totally looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I mean, this was a short, easy, casual, just introduction to Shane and myself. Feel free, like we're always available to you guys. So feel free to connect with us either on our YouTube channel or reach out. Our contact information will be provided, or, connect with us on social media. And we're always there to help you and answer any questions you might have. But other than that, we're super excited that you're joining us on this journey. and we'll see you next week for our second episode. Take care, guys.